it's Jem here. Thanks for joining me, YouTube. This is day 9 of the 31 days of BPD, and I'm going to be looking at one of the more challenging sides of the illness. Well, sorry, I'm switching. To be honest, they're all challenging, I'm not going to lie to you. But this is probably a more challenging one to discuss because this is not something that people openly discuss a lot. Yes, so going back through this section of videos, I'm going through the 9 signs and symptoms of BPD, and this is number 5 from the DSM-5. Recurrent suicidal behaviour, gestures or threats, or self-mutilating behaviour. Okay, there's quite a few terms in there. Let's break that down. So recurrent suicidal behaviour, this really just means that it's maybe you've had more than one suicide attempt. If you have BPD, many of the people I know, my friends with BPD, love you guys, yeah, they've all been in and out of hospital with different degrees of suicidal gestures, threats or self-harm. So yes, if you have borderline personality disorder, you will be in a lot of distress a lot of the time, constantly living in the past, worrying about real or imagined abandonment, going out with having a lot of intense unstable relationships, and really not knowing who you are. So you're dealing with a lot of stuff, and part of having BPD is real you have this sort of real hate for yourself, real self-loathing. I've talked about the impulsive side of things in the previous video. And if you're behaving all of this way, then you're you're living on that borderline, that knife edge. You're dealing with a lot of stuff that sometimes it's just too much. It's too much, and you want it to end, you want it to stop, you want the pain to stop, you want your life to be over, and you really do want your life to be over, or you want people to believe that you want your life to be over. So it says in the thing, recurrent suicidal behaviour, gestures or threats. So gestures would be, taking some tablets but maybe not enough to cause significant harm. So it's like a cry for help. Not cry for helps, as I said in the previous video, a cry for help. So a gesture or a threat. A threat is when you sort of threaten to someone to say, I'm going to kill myself if you don't listen to me, or you have no idea how I feel, but if you knew, then or whatever, you threaten the behaviour. So suicidal behaviour, that is unfortunately a part of borderline personality disorder. For me, I've been in hospital a few times, but suicide attempts is a total of 4, I think. 4, yes. 4 in total, which isn't that much, but it's still too much, still too many. I hate the fact that suicide and self-harm is really not discussed, because it's a huge part of a lot of mental illness, and feeling suicidal is a really horrible place to be. And I know it must be awful. It must be awful for carers. I know when my boyfriend has come home and found me a knife to the wrist, lying in the bath, waiting to die, for him that was the most horrific thing he's probably ever seen. I'm so sorry. But nonetheless, it needs to be talked about, because by not talking about it is not going to make the problem go away. It really isn't. Things are going to keep continuing, and what we need to have is more of an open dialogue. Perhaps maybe in the comments section of this video we can have a bit more of an open dialogue about suicide and self-harm. So the next one is, so the second part of it was self-mutilating behaviour. Now, I personally hate the word mutilating. I think it's really very almost a bit too emotive for me, and I'd much prefer the term self-harm, because harm just sounds a little less dark than mutilating. I have self-harmed since I was about 16, so 20 odd years on and off. Sometimes I won't do it for months and months, and then it will happen. It happened the other day, for the first time in a while, which kind of freaked me out, but I got through it and I've been okay since. But when I start to feel more poorly, that's somewhere that I go to quite quickly, quite dramatically. So yeah, really not nice. Yeah, a really dark place to be, and I find it very hard to talk about, because I know when I've been at that place and people have tried to stop me, and actually the self-harm when someone's when you're having a go at someone who's just self-harm, I mean, I think that's very cruel. But I can appreciate as a carer, you know, the first thing you might be like, I don't want my son, my daughter, my cousin, you know, whoever, I don't want them to hurt themselves. But telling them that isn't going to make them not want to hurt themselves. Believe me, you know, if there was a quick fix, wouldn't it be wonderful? But there isn't a quick fix to it. The best thing is taking your time, taking it step by step, breaking it down, communicating, being there for each other, being kind and supportive, not walking in the room, pinning them down and shouting at them for doing it. Now, that hasn't happened to me, but I do know someone that has happened to, and I think that is absolutely disgusting. If you feel the need to confront someone about their self-harm, which there's nothing wrong with, you know, it's healthy to challenge, but be careful. Approach them with caution. Approach them as if, you know, you don't understand it the way they understand it. So maybe just sort of admit to yourself, hey, I'm maybe a bit ignorant here. Maybe I don't understand it as well as I could. And if that's the case, research it. Ask them questions. Maybe not like, you know, what's your favourite way to do it, but just trying to kind of open them up a little bit, getting them to open up to you, and they'll feel real trust for you by doing that, you know. I'm getting off the track here to do with BPD, but yeah, so this is symptom number 5 of borderline personality disorder: recurrent suicidal behaviour, gestures or threats, or self-mutilating behaviours. I'll be talking more about self-harm and suicide in other videos outside of the 31 Days of BPD. I hope you can join me for them. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you tomorrow for day 10. Take care now. Cheers. Bye.